We back. Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. And tonight, we have a very special guest. This basketball head is from the second most winningest program in New York City history, Boys and Girls High. He was part of one of the best backcourts in New York City history, alongside Dwayne Washington, which today is his birthday. So, R.I.P. to the legend. While Pearl created the flash and flare, this basketball head was steady with a deadly jump shot and a high IQ. When he left Boys and Girls, his name was mentioned among the best that ever came out of the high. After leaving Boys and Girls, he received a scholarship to attend St Bonaventure University, home of our former guests, Glenn Hagan and Eric Hicks, our sponsor over at Game Over. He went to St. Bonnie Land and was honored as a legend by the university by the time he left college. He played a few years overseas before returning home and competing against some of New York City's best ballers in the summer Pro-Am tournament. He served as Ruth Lovelace's assistant at his alma mater, Boys and Girls, and won a few city and state championships before moving on to Brooklyn Tech, where he is now the JV head coach. This basketball head also is the founder of I Got You basketball program here in Bed-Stuy. Without further ado, help me welcome to the show, Boys and Girls great and St. Bonaventure's legend, Elmer Anderson.
Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
There you go.
All right.
All right, let's make some noise for Elmer right now. Let's make some noise.
Nah. Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen. I've been doing Zoom for the last 8 months, man. Listen, and on my laptop, I didn't even think about that, man.
Don't worry about it. I'm glad we got it. Turn the devil way. Turn it the right way. Don't turn the south way.
Turn the long way?
Yeah, turn it the long way. There you go.
All right.
That's right. Hey, everybody get some thumbs up to my guy Elmer Anderson, who is now in the building. Show him some love.
Bud, thank you, Bud. Listen, and on my laptop, I didn't even think about that, man.
Yo, get off your phone. Cut your phone off.
Turn my phone off?
No, you still got your phone on?
No.
Okay. So what's that noise in the background?
Oh, you're right, man. There we go. We good now.
I still hear something in the background.
That's you.
I'm not on my phone.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got the laptop on.
Okay, all right.
There we go.
There you go. All right. Now we good. Welcome to the show, Elmer. I'm glad. Listen, it's an honor to have you. You know, we finally made it happen.
No doubt.
I didn't get a chance to say this yesterday, but happy belated birthday. I think your birthday,
thanks, man.
Right?
Appreciate it.
That's right. And it's so crazy that your backcourt partner birthday is today. So it all worked out, man.
Yeah, sure enough. It's you know, it's interesting, you know, when I think about it, you know, for you to have me on today, and I thought about it. I said to myself, wow. So you know, it's befitting that I'm doing this today. and
Yeah,
everything.
and I think God made that happen because I didn't really have an idea, you know, about the birthday date. So it all worked out, man.
Hey, Capricorns forever.
That's right. That's right. So who introduced you to the game?
I'm gonna say my uncle and my gym teacher, in junior high school and everything. That's because I was really a basketball. I was a baseball head. That was my thing, man.
Yo, me too. I was a baseball and football head before I became a basketball head.
Well, I'm still a baseball head, but the game of basketball was introduced really through my gym teacher, and then my uncle. Once I showed him, that I was interested in it. He started taking me, to the park and everything, and and working on my jump shot.
Which
So I thank him for that.
That's right. Bring the phone down a little bit some more, Elmer. Bring it down a little bit. So there you go. So I get the whole. I need you to bring it down a little bit more. No, up, so I can see you. There you go. So there's some space. There you go. Cool. Right. So what junior high school did you go to?
Junior high school 57.
With Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, and Mr. Anderson, he wasn't my teacher, but he was one of the teachers. One of the teachers there. He came on my last year and everything, but 57 was the place to be. It's where I honed my skills and everything, and started taking the game serious and going to the park. I was crazy. I would actually go to the park early in the morning before it was time to go to school and everything, and end up going to class all sweaty. But I did that because I just wanted to be, I wanted to be a pretty good basketball player and everything, and so it panned out. It definitely panned out for me. And
definitely, that extra work, putting in that extra work is very important, because while everybody else is sleeping, you working.
Mm-hmm. And that's it's crazy. That's what I was always told. Now some of the things that I always relate to my players and everything. When while coaching everything, but definitely, man, 57 was definitely. Then you start playing with the older guys. They beat up on you a little bit, but then they recognize, like, whoa, wait a minute, this youngster got. He has some skills and everything. So, they kind of like took me under their wings and everything. And from that point on, it was like, all right, I had to worry about nobody picking on me to fight, bothering me, because it was like, hey, this kid is, is pretty good. So, you just go with the flow.
It was a rite of passage for us to play with the older guys. I was talking to Mo Hicks the other night, and even Ricky Sobers, it was the same way. Playing with the older guys kind of helped develop us into the players we became. And then by the time we got to high school and started playing against guys our age, it wasn't as tough, because we was going through the rigmaroles of dealing with the guys in the neighborhood.
I haven't heard that word rigmaroles in Lord knows how long, man. Yeah, oh my goodness, rigmaroles. All right.
That's right. And so we from that school, man.
Yeah, but it definitely, you had to earn your right to play on a specific court in the park and everything, and and it was done in a way where just play hard, keep your mouth shut, pass the rock, play some defense, try to get you a few rebounds and everything, but eventually, you hit a couple of shots, and then, they start recognizing, old school cats, they're not blind.
That's
they
right.
Might be older, but they're not blind, and they, take into account, like, all right, this is all right. We're gonna let him rock out. So when you've gotten better, when it's time to choose up a team, and one of the older guys actually picks you on the team, aside from picking another older guy. And everything. Sometimes you look back and you go, yeah, he picked me just so I can be the fool and run into the fence and go for the loose ball and everything. That stuff that they call the Euro step right now.
Right.
Man, that was the hood step, because you had to step across glass.
Yeah.
Everything.
That crack. You have to dodge that crack in the ground.
Yeah, and if you didn't, and if you were the one who who stepped in it or got cut by some glass, they always was, all right, let it be the young fella. I gotta get up and go to work tomorrow, or whatever. But old school
That's right.
basketball definitely was a blessing.
So was you a quick learner, or it took your time to kind of develop into the player you became?
I've always been one, I'm gonna say a quick learner. That falls into a category, even with school being skipped 2 times academically, but I
Hold on, man. Hold on.
Yeah.
You saying that like that's regular. You got skipped twice?
Yeah.
Yo, let's make some noise for that right there, man. I don't think we celebrate that enough. Right? I heard guys getting skipped once, but twice, Elmer, that's amazing, brother.
Well, one of the things I look back on, sometimes I kind of wish I hadn't, in a sense where, back then they didn't talk about prep school. So while, I'm 13 years old on varsity, at the high. So I'm just a little baby and everything in the 10th grade, whereas everyone else is older. But I'm on the team and all. But again, when it goes to picking up things, you learn something, and then what you do is you try to master it. Like I used to watch, I love watching Paul Westphal, Kiki Vandeweghe. And those were the type of cats that I like, because I always was curious about, wow, how do they do these things with their left hand as well as their right hand and everything. So I wanted to become, when I learned the word ambidextrous, that's something that I wanted to be, become in this game. Even with baseball, I made myself into a switch hitter.
Yes.
And in basketball, my thing is, I'm gonna give you this with the left, and I'm gonna give you some with the right. So pick your poison.
And make sure you pick it, because it just might be different.
Hey, listen, I had this cat from one of the teams, from our primetime team, Alex Roberts, and he's a funny dude. He used to call me 40-40. He said, yo, he gonna give you 40 with the left or 40 with the right. This depends on what day it is and everything. So, I took pride in a lot of that. My grandmother used to get mad at me because what I used to do with the basketball, I actually used to take the rock and dribble in our yard, in our brownstone, and just, dribble and make left hand act like I have a basket in the middle of the on the wall.
Right.
And just constantly jumping off my right foot, left hand, right foot, left hand. And in the meantime, I also got to avoid, that piece that leads to the basement, had to avoid, not stepping on that. But my grandmother used to be like, boy, you don't stop with that basketball. But, at the end of the day, man, doing all of that put me in a position to earn myself a little scholarship, man. So
that's right. And
picking up on stuff is important.
That's very important, man. And, all of us had to find our way somewhere. And, those little things, getting up early, practicing on your own in the yard, all of those little things kind of help develop you into the player that you are. And there was no training.
Nah. And, that's why sometimes I look at, I see a lot of, people doing training and all that stuff. I'm like, hey, sometimes you have to have the wherewithal to just do things on your own. Once you learn something, just go work on it. If you don't get it right away, that's all right. As long as you work on it, eventually when you get it, you get faster with it. And now, as they say, on to the next one and everything. And so it was, my upbringing with basketball. And then one of my homeboys, who I really appreciate, to this day, he was someone who, my uncle had to work this and that, but he gave me the fundamentals. But my homeboy who played at Westinghouse with Roosevelt Chapman and Jimmy Clark, Larry Gibbs. And Larry lived across the street from me. And Larry used to be outside with the basketball, dribbling. And, I took to him, and then he started taking me. We walk up the street, in the middle of the street, with basketball, just dribbling the ball between our legs from corner to corner, man, and everything, and doing all kind of different dribbles. So those type of things you know, motivated me. I look forward to, you know, he was older, but I look forward to whenever he would, you know, come home from practice, and then we would always do this at night. Or the girl next door, you know, she played ball too. She would take me to the park, 81 Park. You know, my grandmother didn't mind me going, you know, with her because we was next door neighbors, and she was older,
Right.
and you know, she entrusted, you know, he's in good hands and everything. He's not in the house eating up everything. Go out there, go ahead out there and sweat a
That's
little
right.
bit. But
That's right.
you know, so that's that.
So,
You know, that's how
so at
that
the
rock.
time, was the guy who played. What was his name again? That played for Westinghouse.
Oh, Larry Gibbs. He was their
Larry
starting point
Gibbs.
guard. Yeah.
Was he the best player in the neighborhood?
I'm gonna say he was the best. Remember, I didn't still, even though I was playing, it was mainly me playing in gym and everything. I really didn't know the dynamics really of high school, you know, sports and who was who and this and that. And it's ironic that you say that, because you know, he was good, but there was a guy across the street, again, that lived on my block, had some pretty good, you know, people. This guy named Joe Gatson, who at West 4th Street, he's a legend down at West 4th Street. They call him Hollywood and Chiffon. This cat used to wear like leopard poom poom shorts and play in the games of West 4th Street. Yeah. And he's 6'6", man, and just dunk on everybody. He always played with Harlem USA. And you ask anybody, you got Joe Gatson, Joe Chiffon. Yeah,
Wow.
we call him Terry, but he was like one of these smooth dudes, and you know, the girls loved him. He was like muscle, you know, one of these muscle bound cats, but he can ball and he can jump. I mean, jump out the gym.
Wow.
And he played with Fly Williams and all of those guys. That's how I got to learn later on, because he would take me with him to a game. So it was a culmination of everybody had a little piece, you know, a little piece of this pie that we was making in terms of my basketball pie. And then next door to him is crazy, because now as Larry and Joe was turning me on to the game, my another neighbor, he was the manager at Alexander Hamilton for their basketball team. He was the boys, one of the managers, and you know, he used to always be ham this, ham that. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking he want a ham sandwich or something like that. But everything was ham.
Right.
You know, I was like, you want some green eggs? But anyway, you know, he used to tell me about it. So one time, he invited me, and I went over there to a game, and it was against, I didn't even know it was against George Westinghouse and everything. So I got to go. I went to the game, man. I'm telling you right now, just watching Alexander Hamilton's layup line was bananas. I never seen
It was 1,000 of them. It was 1,000 of them, right?
Yeah. Sure enough, it was 1,000 of them, but the way that they would warm up, man, it was like watching the Harlem Globetrotters. And they kind of had outfits that were similar, but man, it was so, I'm sitting there like, you know, I'm like, wow, this is, man, I want to come here. You know, I wonder if I can come here. So I'm watching the games, and my favorite player ended up being, and believe it or not, I don't think I ever told him, but he'll know now, was Beetle Washington.
Beetle Washington. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna let you go. But I gotta say this, because I never saw him play in person.
Mm-hmm.
There's a game on YouTube with them playing Benjamin. They were playing. I forgot the school. It was Benjamin Franklin versus Alexander Hamilton. They played Benjamin Franklin. Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen a point guard like that.
Yeah.
Especially back then. Now you can go ahead and tell what you saw in person.
Well, I tell you, it was just to watch a guy who was shorter than everybody. When he dunked on the layup line, I was like, wait a minute. It was like bungee, you know, and he was, you know, chubby, you know, not fat, but he was just like, you know, he had a little weight on him, but it wasn't like
Right, right.
It was like, and I'm watching this dude. I'm like, and then his ball handling. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna work on that. He do 2 bounces, and then he cross over, and then he'll pull up and everything. And believe it or not, he had me actually trying. And this is what I would do. I would watch other players, and then if I seen something that I wanted, I would try to mimic it. And that's why, like, to this day now, you know, people don't understand the impact that we all have on kids. They may not say anything,
Yeah.
but they're looking. And I swear, I used to try to shoot like Paul Westphal, Kiki Vanderway, Larry Bird, and Beetle Washington. And I wanted to shoot. I swear, I wanted to try to shoot like Beetle. And the reason why is because the way he shot, it was just so cool. It was like, yo, this dude, it was just cool. Yo, listen, let me tell you something. And then he was quick and everything. So Beetle was my dude and everything, because that's all him. And then of course, you know, watching him play against my boy Larry and Chapman, you know, of course I wanted you know, Westinghouse to win because of Larry. But
Right.
also in my mind, I'm like, wow, I wish I have a chance to go to Alexander Hamilton. But that was nixed as I got, you know, started getting better. You know, my uncle was like, you are not going to Alexander Hamilton. You know, I had a chance to, you know, from these other schools taking these tests and things as such. And then it was like, you know, Boys and Girls High School. It was, he just felt he had a lot to say on what school I went to. And then also meeting, you know, Coach Paul Brown, who I love to death. You know, Coach, Coach had a way with things. One time I was playing at Vanguard. I don't know if you remember the Vanguard.
Yes. Gil Reynolds, yes.
No, I didn't play with Gil.
You just played with the Vanguard organization. Got you.
It was Vanguard, but I didn't play for Gil. It was
okay.
We used to practice at 258 on Macon. But anyway, I remember, you know, playing a game that following year, playing a game against the Gauchos, and Coach Brown was actually refereeing the game. And that's how I met him, because I had a really good game against the Gauchos, who I didn't know who the hell what the Gauchos were or anything. I just knew I was invited, picked on a team to play against, to play in a game, put on some purple and gold, and
that's right,
and go out and perform. And then that really was all she wrote. Then my uncle met him, my mother met him, and it was my zone school. They did zone back there or whatever, but I know that's where I ended up going.
And it had just opened up a few years prior to that as well, right?
Yeah.
It's moving to Fulton Street before it was.
I think we were like I'm gonna say 76. I think the school was. I think it opened 76 or 78. 76. It was one of those. But I like I said, I'm being real with you. I had no idea or anything, man. I still was wet behind the ears. Still, even though I was playing, you know, started playing this basketball thing, man, I was still playing stickball in the street. And I didn't know what schoolwork was easy for me. So I didn't know. It was like, whatever school, I don't know, and everything. So I couldn't tell you.
That's crazy. Joe Jackson says, he says, hold on, I'll try to get it. I think I lost it. Oh, he said, funny how you was cheering for those, for the house back then, and you destroyed us every time you played for
Hey, listen, you know.
I played for HBO too. I came on maybe after Joe stopped playing, but I would have remembered it.
Well, my thing is, you know, Westinghouse was in our division and everything. I actually, when I look back, I believe Westinghouse beat us. Did Westinghouse beat us in the? Was it my sophomore year or my junior year? They upset us. I think we was at Canarsie High School. Was it Westinghouse? I don't know, but I just I know we always used to beat, you know, we used to beat Westinghouse, and we used to beat a lot of these other schools, you know, high school and everything, and you know, I just look back and I'm like, wow, it was just like yesterday. I know people, you know, wouldn't understand when I tell them. I'm like, listen, to get into our games,
Yes.
get into our games.
Yes. Crazy.
First of all, it would be packed, and then there would be another 300-400 people outside trying to get in. I've heard stories where people would offer a kid who had a ticket would offer $100. Let me get 2 of those
Back
tickets.
then, it was so crazy. Yes,
yeah,
I remember. I never got into those games.
They wanted to come see, you know who, man, Pearl
That's right.
And everything. So again, like when I think about it, when I got to the high, I didn't know who Dwayne was. I didn't know anything. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a matter of fact, I was 12 when I got to school, and then turned 13. Then I turned 13. Then I turned 13. So just being on the team, and I remember, this is the craziest thing. I remember, you know, Gene Carroll and used to be in charge of the conditioning, and you had to run a certain amount of laps in a certain amount of time to be on the high team. Now here it is, I'm a young cat, man, and somebody tell me you got to run the quarter mile, you know, one time around less than a minute and everything, or do 4 laps, you know, less than, I think it was 6 minutes or whatever it was. And I'm like, this is crazy, you know, but I'm trying to do these things, but now I'm getting nervous because that was one of the last things that was a requirement for you to even try out, even though, you know, you had, you know, little workouts or open scrimmages or open things. So I remember being on the track and I didn't make the time. Everybody it was all older than me. They made the time, and I was like the only one. Even the guys that what ended up not even being as good as me or making the team, but they were, you know, part of the scrimmages and getting involved with the open gym. They made the time, and I remember having to run, man, and I ran, and I remember Larry Thompson.
My God, LT, that's right.
Larry stayed out there and was like, yo, you can do this. I'm telling you, I ran,
good brother.
I made the time. And I'll never forget this. I walked into the locker room and I just started barfing, just letting out all the school lunch, everything came out of me. But you know what? I used my own, and I ran my ass in that gym. And all they wanted to know was, did he make the time? You know, Gene Carroll, did he make the time? And they said, I made the time, and that was it. That was all she wrote, and that became my connection and the start of my career. So, and
wow,
yeah.
Salute, Larry Thompson, my OG, a guy who made sure I stayed on the right track. He always looked out for me and made sure I was doing the right thing. So, salute to you, Larry.
Yeah, no doubt. These guys are, you know, you look these. A lot of times you got to look back and be thankful for a lot of things, you know, because you don't get this on your own.
That's right.
You don't get it along the way. You're gonna run into a few people who you need, and sometimes unbeknownst to you, you know, that they're helping you out. Like no one really knew Larry stayed out there with me, and you know, Larry was very encouraging. Malcolm Green was very encouraging. You know, Ty Whitehead. I look back and like Ty Whitehead was just
Whitehead, number one.
Whitehead was just, you know, he was just cool about everything. He's like, whoever makes the team makes the team. You know, him and Earl Small and everything, and shit. When you talk about shucks, when you talk about the high, you know, you start thinking about the cheerleaders, because all I would hear about is the cheerleaders. And I found out during the course of that year, man, it was nothing like being on the team and having those girls, those young ladies cheering. And we had the baddest cheerleaders around. I mean, they all the stepping that people do now, man, them girls was doing that with pom-poms back then.
Definitely, definitely. My guy Mark Petit wanted to say, "What's up, Elmer?" And thank you for your words of wisdom. Coaching JV at the high.
Okay.
Yeah, my guy Mark Petit,
right.
another one of my guys. Gerald Green said, "What's up?"
Oh, tell Gerald I said, what's going on? Wow,
Definitely.
Gerald. Okay.
Gerald, yeah, he was on the show. I had Gerald on the show.
Yeah, make sure you tell him to tell his brother Malcolm I said hello.
Oh, definitely. He hear you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Good to hear Gerald. Gerald doing his thing, doing all right. Good for Gerald.
Hold on. My hair just got messed up because my guy Mark goes, the artwork is fire. Sometimes I don't turn around and see what my guy's drawing. Yes, he saw it. He put up his fire. I turned around.
You got somebody drawing? Well, he's drawing the back of your head?
That's our resident artist, Jamel Powell. He played for Jackson under Coach
Andrew Jackson?
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, you tell him that one of my good friends, Vernon Moore, you know, Andrew Jackson legend. That's my dude, Vernon Moore. That's right.
And I'm in contact with Doug Harris. We're going to get him on either this month or the next month for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. Listen, you know, it's a lot of history, but you know, with high school was something else, man.
Yeah. Through your eyes, man, what was the basketball scene like when you was in high school in New York City?
First of all, you know, you had to know how to play, you know, because the competition level was it wasn't watered down. It wasn't watered down. You made, like when you mentioned Alexander Hamilton having so many players, but it wasn't watered down. Them cats could play. It just had a lot of players that went there and everything. And but overall throughout the city, I mean, you talking about the Ham, you talking about South Shore, you talking about Jeff, you know, who at that time it was after Sid Green, so they struggled a little bit because we used to smack them up. And I know Bud won't get mad. Bud won't get mad because Bud was a part of the smacking team, because after we left, they continued smacking Jeff and everything. So how ironic that he's the leader over there now. But that scene was phenomenal. I mean, I'm talking our games. You couldn't have our Hamilton games or Lincoln games at our gym.
Right.
They had to be at Pratt Institute or Long Island University, because there just wasn't any space.
No,
it wasn't space, and those were the type of games where you get in there and you doing your thing. And when I say doing your thing, I'm talking like you doing your thing in terms of people wanting tickets. You know, you got the girls liking you. You got the teachers, you know, on your case, because Coach Brown was something else, man. He knew all the teachers, and he told them if you slipping up with anything, you know, for them to let him know and everything. I don't know if he did that with everybody, but I'm telling you, Coach Brown was the type of cat. This guy would call my house and see if I was inside. And like I said, he probably did it with others too. But it was just those type of things. And I don't know if you have a lot of that now, but the playing scene, the games was aggressive. You know, wasn't any quick whistles and things of such. And if you wanted to score, man, listen, you had to earn it. And then in our case, you know, I'm playing with a magician, man, with the basketball. This guy, you know, I was smart enough. I guess I can attribute that to, like I said, the classroom, picking up on things. I was smart enough to identify, man, listen, take your ass to an open spot and just be ready to shoot. And you know, Dwayne, by us coming in together, and then, you know, I didn't get a lick of playing time except for when our team my sophomore year when I came into school in 10th grade, the only time I would get playing time is if we was blowing somebody out and everything. So I would, I was happy. But what I learned is like, yo, get to an open spot and take jump shots. He's gonna Pearl is gonna find you. Boom. He would boom, find me. Put it and that's our junior and senior year. But my sophomore year, I was in the game with, other players.
Right.
But I made sure, because back then, if you scored 10 points,
you was in the
you
paper.
scored double figures, you in the paper.
Let them know, Elmer. Let them know it don't exist anymore.
I'm like, wait a minute. I can get my name in the newspaper?
That's right.
Oh, man, that girl that I like, if she see me in the newspaper, maybe, just maybe, she'll hold my hand,
That's right.
And everything. And so I forget, I'm not going to say his name, but he used to get mad because he was a senior. And, here it is, I'm a sophomore, because I didn't go in the 9th grade. So I'm a sophomore, in the 10th grade, and every time we was blowing somebody out, I'm just looking at Coach Brown, I'm just waiting. Before he can finish going, Elmer, the buzzer was already ringing at the scores table.
You were ready.
Yo, I was running. And in my mind, I'm like, just get 10 points, Get the 10 points. I'm feeling good. We won by 40. I'm not even thinking about the 40 that we won by. I'm just like, yo,
I'm being the paper tomorrow.
And everything. And then the first thing you do, you buy the newspaper in the morning time. And then you get it. And there was a little store. Get the paper. You see your name. And then you got to put the paper in your book bag and everything, because you don't want nobody thinking that you was waiting. You're desperate. And
right.
You take it out, man. Listen, and you see that girl that you like, and you're gonna bump into her either in the cafeteria or in science class, and you just ease that right onto her and be like, yo, hey, look.
Check it out.
And, next thing you know, you get a different look now. She giving you a different look, like, okay, But anyway, but the basketball overall, man, it was like, it was just incredible. I like to travel. Coach Brown believed in, like, get out of the city to go play, other people. And of course, people was, inviting us places because of who was the #1 player in America, with Pearl. So we would go to like Camden, Trenton, and that's just an example. But I'll never forget our junior year, man. We go down to Camden, and we beat them at their place. They're #1 in the country. They got Milt Wagner, Billy Thompson. They got NBA first rounders, all of this, Kevin Walls. And we get in there, and the crazy part is we got there, the bus driver went the wrong way. We still to this day, we think he did it on purpose. So here it is. We got the newspaper traveling with us, Bill Travers, and I forget the
Bill Travers was with y'all?
He was with us. And the other, the guy from the Post. So
hold on, y'all. Because you saying this like this regular. That shit don't happen no more. No sports editors or writers is writing with a high school team to their game. They'll meet you there.
They'll meet you there.
They'll get a phone call and get the stat sheet, but they ain't riding with y'all. This is crazy.
And the thing is, when you say that, you think about it, it gave the writers a chance to get to know the players and everything, and it made us all so comfortable and everything, but also it ensured that the press, of course, they get the right to get in, but at this level for where we were going with Cameron, it was insane, man. It was like we got there an hour late because of the bus. They gave us like 15 minutes to get dressed and get on the court. I kid you not. 15 minutes to get dressed and get on the court. We're playing against the #1 team in America, Camden. We get in there, we walk in that gym. I had never seen anything like it. Never. The gym was so crowded. I'm talking because their gym is bigger than our gyms that we have here. You know, everything.
Yeah,
Their gym
definitely.
was,
Yeah.
you know, for some reason, their gyms were bigger. You know, when you started heading out of New York City, their gyms was bigger. It was almost like it was a little bit bigger than South Shore, because South Shore has a pretty big gym because of the bleachers going all the way up. But here's the crazy part. Listen, we walked out that locker room to that gym. That whole place was just as foggy up top. You know why? Because back then you could smoke cigarettes. So people
In the
smoke
gym.
cigarettes in the gym.
That's
Yo,
so
you know,
true.
It's
That's so true.
It's like puff puff pass. You know, they in
Right,
there.
right.
When we walked on that court, all the talking, everything that you heard when you just stopped, because everybody was like, yo, there you go. There go Pearl. That's Pearl right there. Yo, that's him right there. And you hear it as his teammate, you still hear it, and you hear them, and it's like they're the opposing team, and they're talking about this dude like they just looking at Black Jesus, like something is crazy.
Wow.
They see it's like, and let me tell you something. He did not disappoint. Yo, he came down one time. I swear he was shaking and baking. He was rocking these dudes. That's why I don't get all excited when I see these kids now. They talk about, you got hit. I'm like, who got hit? What hit? What? They tell me that. They talk about that's from a crossover. I laugh. I'm like, y'all ain't seen, y'all ain't seen anything. Y'all seen Dwayne Pearl Washington. I used to tell them, y'all need to Google that. But anyway, he comes down, boom, boom. Yo, I never seen him do it. I never seen him do it in a game. He shook these dudes. They collided with each other, and he split, and he jumped, and he dunked that shit right on Billy Thompson's head in the game.
Mean.
I never seen him do that. Off 2 feet, he went up like he was going to do his normal finger roll, and I'm telling you, he turned that shit over, and he dunked it right on Billy Thompson's head. Bam! The whole place in Camden went crazy. From that point on, Pearl had 1,000 or so cheerleaders in that game. When he came down the court with the ball, again, I'm being smart. I just run to spot up.
That's right.
Coming down, he's shaking the shit. He's shaking the shit out of these guys, and that every time you see that they would all stand up. The people in the slot, you see, it's almost like how they do sometimes. They used to do it in at the Entertainers League, a certain league.
Yes.
Where now, like if somebody's going battling 1-on-1, and then as you're coming down with the ball, they're getting up. Yo, I'm telling you, these people was getting up. Like, what is he getting ready to do now? Boom. He had, I'll never forget, he had 39 points. I had 23. And I remember my uncle putting his arms around me and saying, son, this was your coming out party. Because because right then and there, if I could play that good against the #1 team in America in front of all those people, I was going to be all right. And so that was a turning point in my career, and it also again made me say, you know what? Y'all got something going here. You knocking down shots, boom, 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 and he's getting to the basket when he wants. And then I realized I was one of the only people he would pass the ball to. He in terms of, unless you had a layup, sure, but in terms of kicking the ball out, he knew where I was, and I knew where to go. Even if he's in a fast break, there was times I run behind him. He'd throw the shit between his legs to me, and I'm like, catch me off guard. But I'm like, I'm not messing this up, because if I do,
because you won't get it no more.
So those was man. Listen, then Trenton, New Jersey, hitting the game with him passing me the ball to hit the game-winning shot. At Trenton, those are things, you know, and that's how our bond, you know, on that court was what it was. And you know, and traveling. So I look back at that, and I can tell you stories about them, but I can also tell you, like, even in Virginia, you know, not to
He scored like 82 points or something like that, and you had like 50 something. What? How did that go?
The first game in Norfolk, Virginia, the place is packed again. I mean, it's like we're like celebrities down there. Well, he's the celebrity, but we as a group.
That's right. You got traveling like rock stars.
Yeah. So I dropped 50.
I
I gave him 50, all from outside, all jump shots from like all kind of ranges and everything. And you know what? They didn't have the 3-point line then. Our senior year, they didn't have the 3-point line in high school. Had they had 3-point line in high school, especially for that game,
you would have had 70 or probably 100.
It would have been bananas. But after that game, and then because they all was like double teaming him, trapping him to run that, and he would pass it. I was letting that bad boy go. And then the next game, he'll drop like 40, and it was crazy. We broke all the records down there. We did damage and left, but you know, it was just high school basketball then. The Kangaroo Classic. Come on, man. Kangaroo Classic. I got 2 MVPs. Believe it, I'm playing with him my junior and senior year. Each year I was the MVP of the game.
Wow.
And it wasn't like I would go out to try to do those things, but you got kids that are lazy. Like, I try to teach my guys, and they learned it because they understood, because if you don't run, you're not going to get. I ran the court, man. I kept moving. Like I said, Paul Westphal, Kiki Vanderway, these guys, they keep moving. You want to score?
Move without the ball.
Move without the rock, man. You put yourself in a position where your teammate almost have to pass you the ball because you're that wide open. And if they don't pass it to you, then everybody's going to say, oh, man, what's wrong with that dude? He ain't passing the ball. He was open. So you put the pressure on certain guy. I didn't put no pressure on Pearl now. Don't get me wrong, because he ain't never had nobody guard him anyway. It was just, you know, and then he'll pass. He'll be like, yeah, let me let Elmer hit this, knock this down from out there and everything. So, you know, when you look at all of that stuff, you say, wow. We had some games and Pratt Institute games that came, like I said, the Kangaroo Classic.
Those are Brooklyn institutional games that you had to go to, that you had to be a part of.
Yeah, look at Lincoln. I remember Don Marbury, Eric. Man, what is this cat's name? I'm forgetting his name, and he was good too.
Hold on.
Oh,
we got Eric Dawn. He wasn't from Cornell.
He was from Cornell. He was dark skinned and slender. He was good though. Henry Hamilton,
he not from Cornell, he from Flatbush.
Okay. But he played at Lincoln.
Listen, when I was a freshman, Kenny Parker, that was Kenny Parker's hero.
Yeah.
Henry Hamilton.
Yeah, so him and Don Marbury, I remember us going to Lincoln, beating them there. And I'm just, when I look back at all these games, man, you know, it's like it was insane. And then, you know, after we left, of course, you know, then Bud and them came along and they kept the tradition going, and they reaped the rewards of, well, you know, things that we were doing. Not so much we was winning, but we never won the championship.
That's what I want to get to. That's what I want to get to right now before we even move off this. And James Majors would like to say what's up because he's in the room.
Yo, tell James I said what's up, and tell him I said thanks James for the well wishes too. You know what I'm talking about.
No doubt.
And but that game, I remember Alexander Hamilton, we would always beat them during the regular season. You know, but people used to always say it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season.
Oh yeah, I know that.
So here it is. We're playing Hamilton in the semifinals, you know, our senior year. And it's like, you know, I had great season, was going good, this and that. You know, it's nothing like being recruited and knowing that you're going to school for free and everything. You know, I look back and I shot the worst game of my life. I had the worst shooting game of my life. I never liked shooting at St. John's. For some reason, the backdrop, I never even,
certain
even
gyms for
when
a
we
shooter.
played there.
I've experienced
Yeah,
that.
yeah, even at the Carrier Dome, I didn't like shooting up at Syracuse. I didn't like that gym either.
Too
But
much
for
faith.
some reason, I did not shoot well at St. John's. So when we played in this game, I mean, I shot, I think, 7 for 28. I put up a lot of shots because what Ray Haskins did, and he'll tell you in a minute because he always told that story. He said, we're going to double pearl, and we're going to just beat up on Elmer. We're going to beat him up and let him shoot as many and let him, and let him beat us and everything. And my thing is, I didn't worry about the physicality part, because I was a tough mother. I was one tough dude, in terms of like, I knew, contact came with the game, and it didn't bother me. And most of the time I was by you or whatever, I didn't even get it. But we lost in the semifinals, and that was my final, high school basketball game representing, boys and girls. And I never forget, like, worried, like, oh my God, all these coaches, all these offers, are they going to take? I never forget Judd Heathcote came down and told me from Michigan State, he said, listen, don't you worry about this game. He said, I've seen enough of you. He says, your scholarship is still available. Even, after I visited, I loved Michigan State and everything, but I just was like, it's too far, and all they talk about is Magic Johnson and everything. And then they had a little white guy on the team, and I'm not a fool. I'm sitting there watching one of the games while I was there, and I'm like, wait, man, this white dude pretty good. And he was a freshman. I'm like, wait a minute. Then they had
Scott
Sam
Skiles.
Vincent.
Was it Scott Skiles?
I was getting ready to say Scott Skiles. And then they had Sam Vincent, who was just a sophomore. I'm like, but they wanted me, that assistant coach, they wanted me down there so bad. And I remember Sam Vincent and Kevin Willis taking me out, hosting me. And I had the time of my, I remember I'm a young whippersnapper. I'm still young age-wise, but still I'm a senior, so they thinking all of this. But just to make a long story short, it was crazy because they take me out, and great people, wonderful people. They take me out, they enjoy the campus life and everything. Plus a big school, and we out. And they go, hey, man, what you want to drink? They got this, and that. You say, you like Long Island iced teas? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, I'll take a Long Island iced tea. I'm from New York, so I'm thinking Long Island iced tea.
Long Island iced tea?
Yeah,
the Sun Dew joint?
I'm thinking Long Island iced tea is just a Long Island iced tea with some lemon juice in it and some sugar and some tea. Man, let me tell you something. I'm drinking it. I'm like, this is good. Long Island iced tea. I'm like, the music is playing, whatever, it's crowded, people coming up to you like, hey, this is our recruit. Yeah, you coming? I'm like, yeah, drink. And I'm like, I see a Miss Pac-Man machine. So I want to play some, Pac-Man, because again, I'm still young. Yeah, I'm playing Miss Pac-Man, and, all of a sudden, I'm pretty good at Miss Pac-Man now because it's moving slow to me. I'm like, something ain't right. Yo, young fella, you want another one of those Long Island iced teas? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I didn't find out until the next day what Long Island iced tea truly was. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I just had an alcohol beverage, a drink, and everything, and it's not their fault. They just assume.
Right.
You're in college. Yeah,
Right,
you're in
right.
college, but my dumb ass, I'm thinking Long Island iced tea, and I'm just like, I never touched another Long Island iced tea for like
That's right.
until I was grown. But the bottom line is the experiences that you get, from your high school career. If you're in a position like I know Bud can attest to this. I know many guys can attest to this. When you go on those visits and when you go and that your family will not have to pay 1 penny to
Yeah.
send you to college, you
Yeah.
have no choice but to be grateful and appreciate that. And I certainly was. So anyway, but that's that's high school was bananas. That's all I could tell you.
All
It
right.
was
So I know that was crazy. You playing with Pearl. He's Mr. All-American,
yeah.
right? Who asked did you bust that year to put you on that next level? Plateau, one of the top guards in the city.
Man, a lot of guys caught that ass whipping, and everything. But a lot of those ass whipping, like I remember, dropping 40 something against FDR, and a lot. I don't, a lot of guys caught the business because I was picking up a lot of stuff that Pearl did, like the ball handling behind the scenes. Nobody knew I would be in the gym working on. I'm trying to do some of his moves and trying to with my jump shot plus some of those moves. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. But I don't recall when I started feeling like I'm busting ass is really when the season was over and I would be with the Gauchos and we would be playing and these tournaments, Tiny Archibald tournament, and I'm like one of the few Brooklyn cats that was down with the Gauchos back then. So I'm traveling, I'm playing, my boy, Dread, Dread, Kyrie's father, Rod Strickland.
Yep.
These are my teammates and
Right.
everything, and everything. So I'm up there to my man Charlie Beck. So that's when I started lighting guys up that I remember, like even in Tiny Archibald. When we won the championship and they said, and then they give out the end of the year awards, end of the summer awards, and it's like, and the number one scorer in the entire league, he said my name. I'm like, damn. I was like, oh man, and my coach, who I love, Dave McCullough, was like, yeah, man. He said, shit. He said, you don't understand. He said, dude, you're a scoring machine. You score, you're getting layups, jumpers, this and that. And the number one thing I was good at that time, making free throws. So I lived at the free throw line, everything. So I don't remember. I just remember sometimes you don't remember who asked you been busting. Because you do your business, you give them a business card at the end and keep it moving. It's like the whip ass business card. But,
that's right.
But I really evolved after college.
Yes.
Really, because I remember I was young, so still I still didn't come into myself physically, even though I was strong, but still I didn't have the age and everything. And after college, man, is really when I came home during the summer every time from college. But after college, that's when I started giving guys the filthy business, man.
Oh, we gonna get to there. What life adjustments did you have to make at St Bonaventure, coming from Brooklyn?
Well, I was always a laid back cat and everything. So the only adjustment that I really had to make was the rigors of the academics and everything. Even though I was a bright kid, still that's bright like here. For some reason, it's like other places, they were already, other students,
doing what you were doing already.
They were just on a different level academically, as I thought, until it took me a minute to find out. I remember one of my math classes, I think it was math management. It was one of these classes, and I'm like, nah, I got to get some help. I don't know. They talking. I see everybody raising their hand. They got answers, and I'm like, this stuff is like Chinese to me, or something. It was like encrypted. I'm like, I have no idea what they talking about. What happened to fractures and this angle is perpendicular to this? So they ain't saying none of that, man. It's like the hypothesis. They talking about unilateral and all kind of. I'm like, what? So I went and I got help, and I told my coach, I said, yo, I had the coolest coach, Coach O'Brien, who ended up leaving after my junior year, going to BC, and
Yeah.
then taking a head coaching job at Ohio State. But what I'm saying is that was the biggest adjustment for me. It was just the discipline, because what I used to do, like in school, everything came easy. So I really didn't study, because it just was coming. It was just coming in like to. But when I got to college, man, yo, I might as well have my pants down, getting a butt whipping from my uncle for using a curse word, that I wasn't supposed to use when I was little, because it was kicking my behind. And then on top of that, having to compete and everything. So that was the biggest adjustment. Like I said, I wasn't one of these guys that had to party and had to do all of this. And I remember going out with the fellas and walking around in the Rathskeller and everything, finally going out, and I remember in the Rathskeller, somebody said, "Yeah, what you got in there? Give me some of that." They think it was beer, and they drunk it, and it was Orange Crush. They spit the shit out. They was like, "Man, what is this?" It's like, "You're supposed to have beer in there."
That's right.
Bonaventure was a party school, but a high academic, prideful institution where, you can get toe up. I never seen anything like this, man. You get toe up from the flow up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then on Sunday, you couldn't even get in the library. Everybody in the library studying, and I'm sure that's on many campuses and that, but that was just the biggest adjustment, and also not being able to come home sometimes, for Thanksgiving or Christmas and everything. And but Christmas, my mother always made sure I got for Christmas. But I was getting ready to say, some people would be like, "Yo, shit, I don't get nothing for Christmas anyway. I'd rather be up here. At least I know I'm getting 3 solids." And getting to cool out and going on a trip somewhere, staying in a hotel room and all that stuff. So it's that was, again, not to sound redundant, but my biggest challenge was just the adjustment and having what others would have, we didn't have, and that was free time.
Right.
And then because you got practice, you got tutoring, you have this. So when you did get your free time, and if you wasn't an excellent student, you still had to make sure that you did, certain things. I mean, I had, teammates that just, were smart and worked hard. One of my teammates, Tom Bones, Bones is like, not to say what he's doing now, but he's doing well, just like a lot of my other guys. You got to put the time in. And then you start learning to do that later on. But I tell you this, if you don't have some of that discipline instilled in you a little bit,
you ain't gonna finish.
You're not gonna finish, because you gotta at least know what it's like to work hard a little bit and everything, because other than that, you'll get lost. And like I said, at a school like my school, you'll get lost in the sauce. And the thing is, it's a small school, so it's hard to get lost, but you will get lost and everything.
Yes. So how much would you guys get per diem when you guys go on road trips? This is the James Majors question. He said from 1983 to 1985, they got $5 on road trips a day.
They got what?
$5 a day on road trips.
We got more than that. I'm sorry. Tell James I'm sorry about that, man. Tell him I'm sorry to hear that. But the thing is, we were smart enough. I know I was, and I'm gonna say the brothers, and I'm gonna say all my teammates and everything. Smart enough to save that money. You save that per diem, because you're gonna get 3 meals. You're getting breakfast, you're getting pregame, and you're getting a meal after the game. And on the road, and my coach, Coach O'Brien, man, this dude made sure, he didn't. He was in charge, but he didn't handle it. But he delegate, y'all make sure we was taken care of. We were
That's
taken
good.
care of, you know, with per diem, and you save your per diem. It's like, you know, I think back, you know, real quick, just jumping ahead. I'm gonna jump right back. I remember like when I was trying out for the Sixers, 76ers, and the per diem. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm like, this is money right here to eat, and on
Yeah.
top of that, you're getting
And
fed.
people don't realize that's outside of the
Yeah,
contract.
that's outside of the contract, man. It was like, you know, so, but a college per diem, you know, coming from where I, you know, from, man, that money came in, that money came in handy, man. That money came in handy because at nighttime, you know, you get hungry,
Hungry.
just like all these athletes, you get hungry, you know, you want some Domino's pizza, you know, that's when Domino's really just started hitting, you know, hitting home and everything, and you can get I forget the price of the pie, but the pies was bigger than they are now. They
Oh
send
yeah,
you a
for
large.
sure.
They send you a
Yeah.
large now, and it's really a personal
Yeah.
pizza and
Yeah.
everything. But back then it was like, yo, you're not gonna eat all of this by yourself, so you
That's
sharing it
right.
with a
That's right.
teammate because and then you have your teammates who shared their food with you. But it wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard. I'm not gonna front. It wasn't
That's right.
easy, but it wasn't hard, and everything. Going to college for free, and everything free, and all I had to do is take care of take care of books and play ball and enjoy the social life. Ain't no social life. I don't care. I didn't go to this school, that school, that school, that school. I went to St Bonaventure, and I'm telling you, ain't no school like Bonaventure School in terms of partying and having a good time and the loyalty and the alumni, the whole, it's just ugly in terms of ugly good. You know, you
Right.
look
Right.
forward
Right.
to them. You look forward to being a busboy. You know, on alumni weekend, you be right there, want to carry their bags because you know you're gonna get a little tip. You know, just like
Yeah.
87, you're gonna get a little tip. It's like, okay, a little tip. Here's a little $5. You carry about 20 bags, man. Come on, you done made your little $100 for the and it's legal. It wasn't like that's illegal. You know what I mean? It was like you was legitimately just, you know, carrying bag. You
Yeah.
volunteering your time, and if people choose to give you a tip, they give you a tip.
One of your guys, he always support all St. Bonaventure guys. Whoever I have off of St. Bonaventure, got
Mm-hmm.
Joe Blumenauer. Guess he went to St.
Oh,
Bonaventure.
Joe, yes. Oh
Yeah.
man, Joe's. Hey, listen, Joe got a daughter that can hoop. You know, that's all I know. You know what I mean? Keep
Good.
an eye on her and everything. But Joe has always been supportive. You know, even outside of being on campus, you know, he stays in touch and everything. It's like our alumni association, our alumni is crazy. We got a lot of people in the right positions, the right spots. You know, my man, Woj from the NBA, you know, that gives everybody the NBA news
That's
updates.
right. That's right.
Adrian is a Bonaventure guy and everything. And you know, I could say a couple of other cats, but I don't know if they would want that to be known and
It's all
everything.
good. We had Glenn
Yeah.
Hagan.
But they prominent cats. And if I
Yes.
say it because you know, they crazy supportive of things that I do, but I just don't want to put them on blast and everything in a good way. So sometimes, but Adrian, I could say Adrian, actually one of my teammates, it's crazy. One of my teammates, Darren Quinlan, is actually married to Adrian's sister and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
So, you know, I got pictures, you know, and everything. So he's doing a tremendous job, as well as the other alums and everybody that does a great job with you know, Bonaventure and everything and keeping the tradition going. Hey, I'll tell you this. Our school, I'm not gonna say we take pride in it, but when they moved the Atlantic 10 tournament to Brooklyn,
Uh-huh.
I went inside this place and I just wanted to have a beer, and he's like, we don't have anything. I'm like, what do you mean? He says, man, the damn St. Bonaventure school drunk us out of everything. I mean, I kid you not. He said, and this is an Irish bar. He said he had never seen anything. He said they drink enough for 2 schools.
Wow.
And you don't have no problems or nothing. They treat the employees great. this and that. My school is no joke. Is absolutely no joke, man, and everything.
Yeah.
But that's not just that, not just partying. But my thing is like they got it going on. Put it that way.
And they support each other. Because look, when I had Glenn Hagan up here, Joe was up here. When I had Eric Hicks from Game Over, Joe was up here. As soon as I put anything from St Bonaventure up, I guarantee you Joe is gonna like it and send it back to me. So salute St Bonaventure and my guy Joe for all the support.
Joe is definitely supportive, man. My man Dave Malley, all of these guys, Sam Graham, everybody.
Right.
So it's
Father Dan.
Yeah. And then I look back and I think about everybody, man. It was fun. I tell everybody, I said, listen, I done played against. I dropped. You don't forget these things. We was playing against Arizona in Arizona, and they had like the a long winning record at home, and Sean Elliott, Steve Kerr, Judd Bushler.
Yes.
I'm giving them the business. I finished with 24 points, and we almost beat them on their court. But out of all of that, so when I see Steve Kerr coaching, the Warriors, and when Sean Elliott was playing with the Spurs, and Judd Bushler with the Bulls, I look back, I'm like, wow. I said, that's, and I forget the other guy. He actually made it to the league, but out of all of that, from playing against Arizona, the number one thing I remember, man, they had the greatest. We went there for Christmas. Ventana Canyon was the name of the resort that we stayed in. Brother, I'm telling you, I was watching TV one night. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. That place was on there. Like lavish. That's how it was. I couldn't, man, that place was crazy. It's like the bathtub was like the size of a king size bed, but deep.
Wow.
It was ugly in a good way. But college was good, man. Nothing like, the Raleigh Center, all that noise, man, that place packed. I remember when we played Syracuse, and I remember Jim Boeheim was like, I'm never coming back here again. And they was loaded. Cycli, Raphael Addison, Wendell Alexis, Mike Brown, and of course, Pearl and everything. And they was like, yo, they throwing quarters. I can't say it, they were throwing, but they came in there, man, and they was like, yo, these people here.
It's a hard place to play. I already know. Yes.
Yo, they used to compare us, and they still do, and now it's coming back. They used to compare us to Cameron Hall, a Duke. That's how the Raleigh Center is, man. I'm telling you, to this day, I haven't seen anything like it. They're loyal, the town folks, but the fan base of the campus and everybody, it was insane. It was like the first time if a basket is scored, all you see is tons of rolls of toilet paper being thrown onto the court. So to take a few minutes to clean the court up and everything. But Bonaventure was it was crazy, man. It was a great experience, just playing and stuff, man. It was good.
Where did you play after you left Bonaventure? Because I read that you played a few years, Dominican Republic and some other places.
Oh no! Look, hey, listen. My thing is, as soon as when I got out, when I left Bonaventure, I actually paid somebody that told me about a free agent camp and everything. I went down and played in Jersey and everything. And when you go there, it's like these places, you pay $35 or whatever. I'm like, look, and I'm a gamble on myself. I went and I didn't know who this man was, but I ended up getting select, out of a group of people, Dick McGuire.
Yes.
From the New York Knicks, legendary player, and he was the Knicks scout. So I'm down there, but I'm killing. I am killing guys. And I'm home over the weekend. I mean, during the middle of the week. And, I'm out of college. I ain't got no job and everything right away. And I get a phone call, and my grandmother goes, "You have a phone call?" And I'm like, "Who is it?" She goes, "Somebody named Dick McGuire." And I'm like, "Okay." I get on the phone. He goes, he's talking to me, and Mr. McGuire speak fast. He's like, "Hey, hey, Elmer." He said, "Listen, I was really impressed with, what you was doing, da-da-da-da-da. And the crazy part is, he's like, and I'm a scout for the Knicks." And I'm like, I was in bed, and I'm like, a scout for the Knicks. And back then you ain't had like the internet where you can pop
That's
up.
right. That's right.
You had
get that phone call.
You had to check and do. I got a call from the #1 NBA scout of the New York Knicks, and I was playing for him that whole weekend. And thank God I was playing hard. He's like, "Listen," he said, "you're an NBA player." He said, "I think you got a chance." He says, "The draft is coming up." He says, "But here's what I need you to do." So he's asking me questions about my past, about this and that, and everything. And one thing I've learned later on, and I'll share that, is that sometimes, these scouts, and not only basketball, it's football and baseball, they want to know if somebody else has seen you. In other words, they don't want to be the one to put themselves out there.
That's right. That's in everything. That's in music. Yeah. That's in everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm still learning. And he was like, I really like your game. You're an NBA player, and I'm going to recommend you get drafted. This is what he says to me. He says, but you got to play in front of Al Bianchi, Rick Pitino, forgetting the other person, whatever. So they invite me and this is what he was really mad about this, and I still thank him, And when I look back, I remember thanking him. He was mad. That's when they had there was a contract issue, so they canceled Summer League because there was a moratorium with the Players Association and the league for a contract. So I didn't get a chance to play in the Summer League. So now you're playing in a league, 10 teams, 10 NBA teams. If that team don't keep you, somebody else may. And that hurt. So what happened is they did a free agent thing at Brandeis High School, private. But they invited a bunch of players. I went in there, and I just tore their asses up. And Rick Pitino, I'll never forget this. Rick Pitino walked by me and was like, "You're coming to New York." This is what he whispered to me, "You're coming to New York." So I'm like, I don't really know him, but I know who he is, but I don't know him. So to hear him say that, so of course, I got invited to training camp, to NBA training camp in October, and I was there for a while. I was playing well, but in the process, they had already drafted Mark, but they wasn't like Dick McGuire told me. That wasn't the problem. They had Rory Sparrow, Gerald Henderson, who I'll never forget. Gerald Henderson, who I used to like, but he turned me off because he was trying to bully me and everything because I was busting his ass and everything. And they had, and that's when they started these guaranteed contracts. Like really that time it started like certain things, and they was obligated to these things. But I know Rick Pitino, he wanted to get rid of some of them, but they had to keep them. They wasn't going to just get rid of them.
Yeah.
So it was tough, man, because I remember, I remember just in the locker room or in the shower, after practice, me It'll be me, Patrick Ewing, you know, God bless him, Pat Cummings, and everything, and just talking. You know, I'm like, shit. I'm in here with the dudes right now, man. I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I'm lathering, I'm like, and talking, they asking me questions, and what school I went to. I'll never forget Patrick Ewing. When I said St Bonaventure, Patrick Ewing was like, what's that? Where's that at? You know, like, in other words, these dudes only knew Big East or
Right, right.
ACC.
ACC.
That's how it
it.
was,
That's
man.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but and I just, you know, it hurt me, you know, when Patino was like, he pulled me to the side and told me that that they're gonna let me go and everything, and it was weird, because that's when I started getting a taste of, you know, what this thing is like, and that
Business.
some of these players, they're lucky. That's
Yep.
all I can say.
Yep.
Some of them are lucky, because some of them, there's a lot of cats that are better than a lot of them, but some of them cats is lucky, and so after that, that's what happened, and then I got a job. You know, I became a caseworker for foster care agency, and you know.
But before that,
No, okay,
hold on,
no, I was gonna.
hold on. Let me say this.
Uh-huh.
But after you got finished, and they said that you couldn't play with the Knicks, you came back home to New York City, and you was kicking everybody's ass. So,
Well, that's definitely what happened. But what I was going to say to you is that by working, I also was playing and everything, and the way I started getting, the way I ended up playing professionally, and I love this dude, man, Ralph Menard. I'm walking. I just finished playing at City College, and you know, me and my girlfriend, whoever it was at that time, or lady friend, you know, we were walking, you know, to get to where we had to be. And Ralph says to me, he goes, "Hey, you got a minute?" He said, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Why am I, like here?" He says, "Why are you not playing somewhere and making money?" He said, "You were better than everybody on that court. Even those guys, some of those guys that play in the league." I'm like, hey, I tried out with the Knicks, and then I just started working. And my thing was go to the boys club after, on Wednesdays, Mondays and Wednesdays, and just play with the fellas, this and that. He was like, nah. He says, nah. So there's a professional league where you was allowed 2 Americans, although, Puerto Rico is considered a commonwealth and part of the United States, still it's deemed, if you're not Puerto Rican, they call it a refreso, someone who can substitute. So they were starting a professional league, good money, the whole thing, and you get 2 players, 2 Americans per team. So what happened is Ralph hooked me up, him and this cat named Ray. He was like, yo, listen, go down. They're gonna fly me down. The team, they flew me down. I get down there, and I'm like, oh my God, it is beautiful out here. I'm like, I'm not here, but I'm like, stay focused, man. You gotta worry about basketball. You trying to, so I'm like, and then I was like, man, they play basketball out here. I don't know. So I get in there, I get in the gym. I'm seeing all these big guys and all these, players and everything. And I just start giving guys the business. So the crazy part is I did this over a weekend. So the owner of the team in Cuomo, I never forget Cuomo, his name was Dr. Frontera. He was like, hey, we want him. So, they were speaking Spanish to Ray, and Ray was talking to me. And then Dr. Frontera was speaking English to me. He goes, telling me stuff. And he was like, we don't want you to leave. Can you just stay? I'm like, I got a job. I have a job. I have a job with benefits and all this stuff. And he's like, listen, what do they pay you? He says, we don't want you to leave. And I'm like, I gotta go back. put it this way. The incentives was very good to make me go to my boss when I got back to New York and ask for a leave of absence.
Wow.
And everything, and explain it. My boss was like, go for it. She was like, you go for it. And from that point on, I didn't work, you know. And then what happened is I went down there, I turned it out. I went and no, it's crazy. I'm at Cuomo, and then I get a phone call to go try for a CBA team. So I'm like, all right, let me just, they paying for it. So I flew out. So when I left Cuomo just to go and everything, they needed a player to come in, you know, because there was 2 games I missed. They had Robert Reed. Remember that guy?
Yeah. From Houston. Yeah.
So I get back, you know, I got a, you know, Mazda 929. I have a beautiful room at the Days Inn. That's where they put me up at. It was beautiful. I walk outside, the pool is right there. I get there and I'm like, and they signed Robert Reed to like a full year to finish out the season contract. And I'm like, what? So I call Ralph calls Ray, whatever. Next thing you know, he said, go back to your room. Yo, this is the craziest thing. He says, I got you with another team in San Juan. See, in Cuomo, I was staying in Ponce, but then I would go to Cuomo, but in San Juan with Guaynabo. Now, I don't know Guaynabo, Gua this, Gua that. All I know is San Juan, and that means fun. Get there. They're in last place. Last place team, but I didn't care because I did not want to leave.
Right.
And the money was good, this and that. Yo, took the team from last place. They already got guys that's on the Olympic team. Already on the team. But they didn't mesh. Even though loaded, the Olympic coach was the coach, everything. I get there, starting spot. Next thing you know, we go from last place, qualify for the playoffs, win the whole thing. I dropped 56 on TV in one game against a team like James Carter, True Carter.
Yeah. Because I was about to ask you, did you play against him? Because he was the legend out there.
Oh, I did them dirty. I dropped 56 on them, man. Like, it was crazy. Next thing you know, I'm like, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all. So it's like now it's a buildup. But the crazy part, you want to hear something that's crazy?
What's that?
Before I left, during that summer, you know, playing in the pro-am, like I said, working, playing in pro-am, playing ball, I shot a commercial. ASICS had made me one of their spokespeople for their sneakers. They was doing basketball sneakers. So we was filming commercials, filming all over the city and everything. You know, so, but I'm away. I don't know anything. I'm away. I don't know when the commercial's coming out. All I know is they bless him. I get blessed with sneakers and all kind of gear, this and that. So I'm sitting inside a sports bar with Daryl Chamberlain and you know, a couple of ladies and everything, you know, and they don't know any English. I don't know any, you know, I know very little Spanish, but yo, I shit you not, we're sitting there and watching the Knicks game. The Knicks, you know, they love the Knicks down in Puerto Rico. And boom, commercial comes on. And I'm on the screen, man. I'm on the screen. I look at the girl and I go, she look up, look back at me, look up, look back at me. I already knew I was gonna have a good night. That's all I knew. I knew I was gonna have a good night, man. It was crazy. Here it is now. My commercial is nationwide. It's all over the place, you know. So and then end up winning it, and that's where the Philadelphia 76ers, you know, Ralph had got in touch with them and told them, and they got wind of my play and video of this and that. It was like, yo, listen, I went down with the Sixers. That I knew I was going to get a shot with them. But before that, I'm home, and then my phone rings in, like, I think it was March, after I came home from September all the way through January, February. I get a phone call from a teammate that I was teammates with in Guaynabo that we won the championship with.
Mhm.
And he's like, listen, a great guy, Mario Butler. I mean, great dude, Panamanian cat. He's a legend, Panamanian, but he was able to play there. He's like, listen, he said, you want to go to Venezuela? I'm like, word? He's like, yeah. He says, good money. I'm going to get you some good money. And he did. And next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Venezuela, man. And I'm down there, I'm down there for the next three months or whatever. So I get that. It was and that's where everything just took off. And then I come back, Philly. What they did is they hid me. I came in, worked out with them, trained this and that. They hid me. They sent me to Louisville, Kentucky, to the general manager to train with, to just work out with a team that was being coached by the late Derek Smith, who was,
Right.
that played for the Clippers in Louisville.
Yeah.
So they kind of hid me. They didn't want me. They just was like, yo, we're gonna sit tight. We're gonna put you in the oven a little bit. Let this bake until something opens up. And that's what they did. And then, but I'm like, look, I'm not gonna be waiting around.
That's
Next
right.
thing you know, I'm playing in the USBL. I come back, go back to Puerto Rico. Next thing I'm in USBL, and I'm playing for what's his name? This guy, man. He was Steve Post. This dude. I come back to New York. I'm playing this dude. He cuts me. I'm like, I just left Venezuela to come back to play in US, and this was because my agent told me, come back, play in the USBL. That's where it's at, and everything. This dude cuts me. I call my agent. I'm like, yo, I got cut. He's like, you got what? They didn't like the fact, they felt that I didn't play hard in tryouts. And I'm like, I'm playing against guys that are paying to come in here.
Right.
They scrubs. They're scrubs. They're diving on my knees, my feet, this and that. I wasn't trying to get hurt, but they cut me. So I'm like, y'all, they done lost their minds. The next day I get a phone call, a mistake was made. I'm like, oh, really? Because I was getting ready to go back. I was getting ready to fly out of town.
Right.
I go, man, rest is history. Me and Steve Burt was tearing, that was the backcourt, Westchester Stallions. Me and Steve Burt was tearing these guys up, man. And then from there, John Lucas, out of everything, my biggest regret. Sometimes now when I talk to people, I'm saying never jump the gun. Look at things and then make a decision. John Lucas was coaching the Miami Tropics, even though he was the coach at San Antonio Spurs. Remember, he was helping guys that were doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped 36 points and 19 assists on his team in one game. Like, wait a minute, this didn't just happen. I have the video. I actually have it. They even put it on DVD for me. He was like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm killing. They got Ken the Animal Bannister, Gondrzak, all of these dudes, the other Dwayne Washington that played with the Nets.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm killing these dudes, man. Now we end up making it to the championship, and Julius just was like, yo, he just turned me loose. He was like, yo, man, you go out there and do
Julius Allen, I had him on the show as well. Yes, bro.
Jules turned because they fired Steve Post. They was like, yo, get out of here, man. You don't know how to coach Steve Burt, and you don't know how to coach Steve, and don't know how to coach Elmer. And Steve Post, don't get me wrong, nice guy, but he just couldn't coach, pros. Yo, we end up going to the championship and losing to the Miami Tropics by like 3 points. I make second team all USBL. I got like 24-12 in the championship game, but I'm in the locker room getting dressed, boom, 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 and a couple of their players come in and go, hey, man, I just want to congratulate you. And I'm like, man, congratulations in order for you guys. He said, nah. He said, Coach Lucas said, you're going to the show. I'm like, word? He said that? I'm like, really? So, after all these things, what they do, if after a championship game, they got a restaurant for everybody to go to. And I'm telling you, lo and behold, I'm sitting there with my lady, my friends, and everybody that came up to the game, because the game was in Connecticut, that championship. Lucas sent one of his assistants over to me and told me to come to the table. It's like, hey, Coach Lucas would like to speak to you. I'm like, all right. I get up, I go over there. Now, this Tom Thibodeau,
Yeah.
the Knicks coach,
Yeah.
he was there with him. Understand? So I'm sitting at the table with John Lucas, Tibbs, this guy, and that guy. And he says to me, he goes, you want to play in the league? He says, are you getting any interest from anybody? And I tell him, I said, the Sixers. And I mentioned, Jimmy Lynam, the general manager, who I was building a relationship with. But he was like, oh, that's my guy. Boom, 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 boom. He says, hey, San Antonio's not a bad place. And I'm like, nah, I can imagine. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm set with the Sixers because this is what they selling me.
Right.
Plus my mother lives in Philly. I got family in Philly. And when I'm set, I didn't tell him that. But when I look back, man, so Jimmy Lynam calls me, the general manager calls me and go, hey, he said, hey, what's going on? He said, I just got a phone call from John Lucas about you. And I'm like, oh, word? In my mind, he's like, yeah. He says, you getting ready to go that way on me? And I'm like, no. I said, I'm telling him, I'm like, nah. I told my agent, nah, I want to do Philly. That's it. Boom, boom, bada bing, bada boom. Yo, all of this, and then all of a sudden, there's a trade with Phoenix and the Sixers. Jeff Hornacek. Seattle. I'm sorry, Seattle. Phoenix. I'm sorry.
Phoenix.
It was Seattle. I'm sorry. It was Seattle, and I'm just mad right now because it was a couple of players, Dana Barrows, this and that, Greg Graham, all these guys, and they had guaranteed contracts, and Philly took on their contracts and brought in Jeff Hornacek and this and that, man. And just like that. And by the time we reached back out to Lucas, they had already signed guys. And, he didn't have that type of power, whatever.
Right. To wait.
Too late. It was too late and everything. In other words, don't come for me now.
That's right.
So that I went a year without playing. I didn't touch a basketball for a year. Literally did not. I had already made some money and everything. And I was like, almost a year. I was so mad. I didn't touch it until coming around to the summertime in May after all of that and everything. Because that broke me. That broke me, not financially, but that broke me mentally. And the impact it had, you trust that you're going to be set. You promise this, you promise that, and that hurt, and it really hurt. So, you move on and you continue playing. I continue playing in Venezuela, continue playing in Puerto Rico, DR, everything, and also in Paraguay, right near Brazil and everything. So you do what you got to do, and then boom, you come back and of course summertime in the pro-ams. That's my professional slate there in West 4th Street. I remember playing against you there. I look at West 4th Street. That was one of the most competitive. I won the MVP 6 times in that league. 3 times, I think, in the championship games, 2 in the All-Star games, and won the whole league MVP. And then the Pro-Ams, so I can sit here and talk for days about that, but nobody really want to hear that, but
your story's amazing, man. I'm learning some new things myself, brother.
Yeah,
You
so
know, my
I
guy
don't
Blade
know.
1313 want to know. Ask him how good was Luther Burks, R.I.P. Played against him in Mexico. My mentor down there. He said, "Did you ever play against Luther Burks?"
Nah.
Okay.
Luther
All right.
Burks. What years? Where? That's.
I'm not sure. I just read the message.
I tell you, when you asked me something before, I remember. You always remember a player that you played against. Everybody has a player that they played against, and you be like, damn, this dude tough as a mug. He tough.
Right.
I remember one year this guy named Dexter Shouse. He was a cat from like Mississippi. About 6'3", wide shoulders like a football, like a linebacker. But he had handles and was strong, athletic, and everything. I remember him being one of the toughest players I ever played against. But in terms of New York, there's a guy that I just thought, but he wouldn't listen. He was one of these. He was hard headed on the court, and I'm like, man, this dude, he's 6'3", strong, good body, and I'm like, you don't understand. You can hoop, man. You can hoop. But you can't hoop being selfish. People used to think, I used to hear whispers like, "Oh, he's selfish." I'm like, and then somebody be like, "Elmer's not selfish.
No.
He just gets open." When you see 40 points, first thing you think somebody's selfish. No, I'm shooting 10 for 13 or 10 for 15, making free throws, making threes, this and that. But this kid named Darren Robinson, his brother is Pike. You may have heard that.
He just my man Messiah just said that. Ask him about Pike at West Fork.
Yeah, Pike and everything. Pike and I actually have played together, but his brother, Darren was I'm telling you, 6'3", strong, can ball, man. But he just wouldn't. He just thought if he played, he had to take all the shots. He had to do all this. And I'm telling you, he's a guy that was one of the toughest guys I ever played against in terms of just can have the complete package. But he was easy to deal with because he didn't think the game and everything.
Yeah.
So that's where that's what hurt him. But when he did, like, we played together, and I tried, without having to say a lot. But I was like, yo, just come on, let's do it this way, and everything. But he was, he always thought he knew everything. But he shitload of talent, man. I mean, excuse my French.
No, that's real. I was talking to Bud the other day, and actually, someone told me that Thomas Jefferson shut down, I think, Jordan Riley's the number 2 or 3 player in the state, and they played against them in some tournament. They played against Brentwood, and the other coach told me, yo, Jefferson shut him down and exposed him as a player, and he getting all that hype, supposed to be going to Georgetown. And then I spoke to Bud, and he was like, yeah, he doesn't have what they said he have. And
it's hype. Sometimes these cats got hype, man. Let me tell you something. Austin Rivers, let me tell you something. We went to play in the and that's one of the things that I enjoyed. And we're going to talk about the coaching. We went and played in the Brandon Jennings Classic. And the thing that I always loved about coaching and being coaching with Lovelace, and in terms of at the high, my thing was, she understood that I knew the game, and she understood that I knew what it took to do things. So I had free reign, and everybody knew that in terms of with our team and everything. And I'll never forget when we was playing against Austin Rivers. I'm like, yo, we got guys better than him. Our kid Malik Nichols. I'm like, Malik's 6'4". I'm like, he's better than Austin Rivers, hands down. It don't take me long. That's no knock on Austin Rivers.
No. Trust me. It's that eye test.
But I know, and I'm like, yo, we're gonna beat them, and we beat them twice in the same year. each time we beat Austin River, we beat them on TV in the Brandon Jennings, and we beat them in the Dick Sporting Goods Nike event down in Georgetown Prep. But my thing was with coaching, man, and I told Ruth, I said, listen, we have to do A, B, C, and D. And you make sure you tell Bud, I said, I appreciate, Bud said something, and I appreciate it, and I always remember it. Bud, he said it in the paper. He goes, listen, he said, I'm done with all these transfers and all this stuff. He said, I'm going to do what Ruth and Elmer are doing. I'm building through JV.
That's right.
That's when Jefferson started turning around. But Bud said, I read it. And he'll tell you he said, and that's how I felt. I said, listen, Ruth, let's build a JV. We're gonna build this JV program. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna get players. We're gonna if it's like that movie, Field of Its Own or whatever.
Build the dreams. Build the dreams. If you build it, they'll come.
They'll come. Yeah. And one of the things, those things started happening, and then I was like, yo, we got to get this scheduling. We got to, I looked at Tiny. I'm like, I'm seeing Lincoln always going away, and they got this guy, that guy. And I'm like, I got enough connects to, and next thing you know, brother, we traveling nationally. We playing against Julius Randle. We beating Julius Randle and them in the Beach Ball Classic. We going to Virginia. We knocking off the #1 teams in Virginia. We traveling. We doing all this, but we're doing it. We built it from within. And of course, it don't hurt to have 1 or 2 transfers that are pretty doggone good, that can fall in line with what we're building. And that was one of the things. Like I remember, Pat Jackson, when we heard that he may want to come, but he was like, he's going to want to take like 20 shots a game. Well, we're like, well, if he's thinking about transferring, we can't get involved with that. But
that's right.
Maybe somebody should let him know you ain't getting 20 shots designated to you per game at the high. You're going to get whatever you get within our offense, and everybody eats. We're not just going to feed one person. But that was just something. So when we look back, we never had anything to do with trying to entice or encourage kids to transfer. When I think about how people used to just talk about that, we never went to a kid. Kids know kids.
Right.
Kids know kids. And
kids are recruiting each other, basically.
Yeah. I remember, Zamal Nixon. Zamal Nixon didn't have not a school or anything. Zamal rode the bench almost 3 years as a variant. Zamal was miserable. I met Zamal, and they was like, yo, Zamal, David Imes had already been in our school, and Zamal wanted to come. And all right, we can't do nothing about that. Catholic to public, you want to come, that's on you, but we can't get involved with any of that. So lo and behold, the kid ends up, at our school. His father was like, oh my God. He says, man, I used to watch you play, you and Pearl Elmer. He's like, and you're there? He was like, yeah. He said, I thought about it. My wife was reluctant, but my son was like, he just had to get out of Zavarian. He just wanted a new scene. But the bottom line is, I'll never forget his dad. Once he was, was with us, and now we can talk, this and that, and that. His father was like, his wife said, look, they walked past his room one day, and they said, look. And he was doing his schoolwork, and he was bobbing, and they said they hadn't seen their son this happy in a couple of years. Zamal was happy with us. He said he told his father, he says, Dad, we wasted money with personal trainers and you train. He said, the stuff we do at the high, he says, nothing like it. Long story short, Zamal, we ended up having a great year, but Zamal got all these college offers and everything. And, this is what it's about. It's not a baseball field. It's a court of dreams, not field of dreams. And he ends up having all these, Wichita State, all these schools. and the kid ends up getting a scholarship, and now he's a pro. He's been a pro for the last 8 years and
Wow.
everything. So my point is, as a coach and who's played professionally, I understand what it takes, the physicality, the mental aspect, the working out, things that was instilled in me, but more importantly, I did it. So I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to tell you something that's not true. So I look at Zamal, I look at Wesley Myers, Mike Taylor, I love Mike. I remember Mike, it's like, yo, I wanna come to the high. I'm like, yo, next thing you know, Mike's leading us to 2 championships. The first time back to back, Antoine Slaughter. So these guys started coming, these relationships start building. It's things like that that's important as a coach. And then coaching, I made sure, like, believe it or not, I'm the one who brought Under Armour to New York City. Not Tiny.
Really? I would have thought that was Tiny.
No, it was me. I'm the one who got Under Armour here in terms of, and then Tiny was in the works with I don't need to say his name and everything. The person who runs that department used to run that department, but my guy, and next thing you know, it's us, and then it's Lincoln, then it's Jefferson and everything. But I'm initially the one from, hey, listen, my Bonaventure Connect, baby. That's what I'm saying. My Bonaventure
Definitely.
My Bonaventure Connect was just happened to have a relationship with someone from Under Armour that was a bigwig, and he got wind that they're looking to go into the high school basketball piece, and he recommended me, set it up. The Under Armour people came, and I'm gonna say me, and I talked to him, took him around. Ruth has her ways in terms of, like, she can be shy and stuff like that. And she'll tell you,
because
coach,
we like, just getting on after season 2. I spoke to her the other day.
Yeah. She'll say, it'd be like, nah, coach, you go ahead, because you know what you're gonna know what to say and everything. So what happened is we sealed the deal. The deal was sealed. Next thing you know, and the rest was history with that until until they saw her wear a pair of Nikes in one game and everything. And
She wore a pair of Nikes.
Yeah, but it wasn't intent. I
know, because that happened. Jay-Z. That was Jay-Z when he had the Reebok deal.
Yeah, but she loved, that's her thing. She loved Nike. She loved her Jordans, and I think it was just a slip. But what happened is, that's fine. But what happened is, one of the reps came to the game, just happened to be in New York doing a deal with something else, and was like, oh, y'all got a game, I'm gonna pop in. And I wasn't paying attention to it. She didn't pay attention to it. And all I know, he was livid. He had me standing outside in the rain with him.
King Ross said, fucked up my summer internship, man.
Who said that?
King Ra.
King Ra. Hey, Ra knows the deal. Ra was right there, so he understood, how, listen, we had, I told a college coach one time about our deal, and he was like, man, y'all got a better deal than college. Y'all deal is better than ours. He said, that don't make no sense. We gave the kids, and we took care of the kids. Here's this, here's that, here's this, but make sure y'all take care of this. And then the kids start taking care of what they have to. They was taking care of what they have to do anyway, because they knew. And then our kids going to college.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's one of the things that I enjoyed the most, building relationships, with college coaches. I'll never forget one time we was at Hoop Group, and I used to sacrifice my summers in terms of, like, taking the boys, because I knew they needed to be somewhere where college coaches will see them.
Yeah, my college coach runs that, Tiny Green.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And at Hoop Group? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He runs Hoop Group. Yeah, he was my coach at Fairleigh Dickinson.
Oh, all right. Because I built a great relationship. Rob Kennedy, who's the president, who owns
Yeah.
the whole shebang, that's my guy. But what it is so taking the guy, so we end up playing in a team camp and we go to the championship. Now I don't even know that my man Dredd, has a son.
Uh-huh.
Has a son, that's nice, and everything. I didn't know because Dredd actually came to the high with the Wichita State assistant coach because they were teammates at BU, Spinelli. So he came to talk to me because Spinelli really wanted Zamal.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dredd, and it was so good to see, we always called him Ice. It was so good to see Ice. And I was like, man, we just chopping it up. He's like, yeah. He said, my guy, Spin really want, Zamal. But anyway, all this time, but we never spoke about his son because I didn't know. And he didn't, Ice didn't say, hey, I got one. My son is bad as this. Last time I saw Ice, we was in the gym on 20th Street, man, and 2nd Avenue. Him, me, Rod Strickland, and all of that. And I think Rod was still in the league, and Kyrie was like 4 years old, over in the corner, dribbling the basketball or something, But the bottom line is, what I'm saying is, we look and I'm like, how are we gonna do this? So Ice says to me, he goes, hey man, he really, really, really likes Zamal. I'm like, Ice, I said, Wichita State. I said, so Zamal goes out there. He's like, coach, it's the craziest school. He loved it. But I'm like, yo, keep looking at other places. And you look, but at the end of the day, opportunities. So what goes on at the camp? So we're playing in team camp after Zamal, he's gone and everything. And I still don't know about Kyrie until team camp. We make it to the championship, and I hear one of the boys go, oh, yo, that's Kyrie. Oh, we getting ready to play Kyrie. That's St. Patrick's. Now, Mike is only going into his sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Kyrie is going into his senior year. Kyrie drops 40. Mike Taylor drops 40. Now, you get what I'm saying? Now, what I'm saying, Mike ends up, I'll never forget the guy at the scores table saying to me at Hoop Group, he goes, Mike was, upset that we lost. I said, don't worry about it, son. I said, you got 3 more years of this. And the guy was like, what? I said, yeah, he's only going to the 10th grade. He was like, what? And that, right, Mike ended up, when we got back to school, Mike was ranked as the number 7th in his class, number 7th shooting guard, and number 27th overall player in the country. Mike was on his way. And the thing is, I love Mike to death because Mike was Taylor was the type of kid that never would walk around bragging. He would work just as hard as the next person, and they all got along. That team, and we went because I coached him with JV. He only stayed for 1 year. We went, I think, 27-0, and then the next year, 26-1. But that was without him. But the foundation was being laid.
Right.
And then right from there, doing all that winning, they go up to varsity, and we win the championship their junior and senior year. And it's a culmination of so many things, man. And just to see these guys, Anton Dickerson. Anton was a kid, nobody was recruiting, man. I worked hard. We worked hard. Antoine, I used to follow, Antoine, sometime to class and make sure, not that he wasn't going to class, but make sure he's doing his work. These are the things that I would do within the range since I was in the building. I would try to do. And next thing you know, Antoine, he get a scholarship to Howard.
Yeah, and I've seen you guys, all of you guys go to the Garden to go support him. I saw you, we said what's up that day. And I was so impressed that you guys showed up to show him that support. Yeah, I remember that.
You're supposed to, and a lot of times you bring the younger kids who's right behind
That's right.
so they can see it. So, you know, so I look at the list from David Imes going to Hofstra, Malik Nichols, Hofstra, Zamal Nixon, Houston, you know, Kendall Cutler, South Dakota, you know, all these schools, Kyrie Sutton, Binghamton. It's like Wesley Myers from I forget one of the schools, Niagara.
Yeah.
And then he ends up playing at South Carolina. And then you got Tavon Myers, West Virginia. You know, it's like, and it just was going. And then you got from Clayton Sterling going to Toledo, Shalik Jenkins, New Paltz, Chris Harris going to Southern Connecticut State, man. Listen, that's a sense of pride, brother. And I know I might be forgetting because there was so many of our guys and they're going to scholarships and they're getting it done. And those are the things that led to, you know, a lot of times the communication with the media, and that was my thing. I'm very good with the media, built great relationships with media members, whereas, all right, boom, let's do this. You know, all right, Love, what about this? Think about this. This is what we can do. You know, from Universal Studios, movie offers to book deals. You know, you guys would not believe some of the stuff that came across the plate and everything, even from Flavor Unit. You know, Queen Latifah and Shakim. You know, they want to do a movie. And it's like, yo, maybe we can get Terrence Howard. We sat privately on a Saturday or Sunday and a meeting with them, Shakim Kapare, and we was doing a movie, man, a movie. And these guys was like, we'll get Terrence Howard to play me, and Queen Latifah was going to play Ruth. And when they said Terrence Howard play, no, Terrence, they said, man, that dude is the most unathletic dude. Yeah, they had him rolling. They was. I love him as an actor. But it was like, you know, my point is we was at that level, man. Book deals, stealing. What's the guy name? Oh my goodness, big time book writer, and his company, the Gurnett Company, was like, yo, let's do this book deal, you know, on Lovelace and everything. And I was like, well, we can get this done, you know. So it was like my thing was, I'm gonna get these deals. I'm gonna get this stuff done. We're gonna do all of this. Movie, yo, it's you have no idea. You have no idea from NBC and then to win the championship. Come on, man. How many cats can say they did the Jimmy Fallon show? Come on, Jimmy Fallon show, brother.
With all of this going on, all the success, you come back to your alma mater and things are happening. What made you move on and go to Brooklyn Tech?
Well, what happened is after a while, it's like any place. Sometimes you just feel like, and it was a new principal came in, and then after we won the state championship, I was already like taking steps back. I already won a couple of borough championships and division championships. We won the state with truck, and you know, you sometimes it's like, I shouldn't say you see the writing on the wall, but you see where you just need to take a step back. And that was the whole thing. A lot of times, you know, people will make up whatever they want to make up to say why somebody left. No, they thought I was nuts. I walked away on my own. I chose not to want to coach anymore with the varsity team and just concentrate one more year on the JV. So this transition to Brooklyn Tech, and it was smooth as can be, and I'm so proud because this year my Tech team, my schedule, my JV boys, all I did was schedule games against AA teams aside from our regular schedule, and we ended up the last 2 years winning the division championship for the first time in over 25 some years.
Wow,
and I have and my players are from various nationalities.
Yeah,
you know, so I got like the Baskin Robbins of flavors of players, but I get to select. My tryouts be almost 200 kids, and I got to get it down, and I end up keeping 20, you know, or 21. And my partner, my assistant coach, you know, Coach Harris, would be like, man, you crazy. How you can keep all these guys? I'm like, listen, these kids, we won't have to worry about with certain things. And it's the academics, the whole shebang. And then at Tech, you know, there's a different allure in terms of doing things. And I enjoyed it. Now, don't get me wrong. I love being at the high. I enjoyed helping Ruth build something that wasn't there before I got there. Yeah, she was there, but it wasn't what we went to the championship 5 times in 6 years. Prior to that, and 7 times in 9 years, we went to the Final Four. Prior to that, she had never been to the Final Four. So I walked away with no problem. I did my part and gave us a national, put Boys and Girls High School back on the national scale. All I know is when I left, it is what it is, you know. But what I'm saying is I have no hard feelings whatsoever because we did a lot of winning together. We did a lot of things together. Sometimes you have to be able to just say and give somebody credit and just say, you know what, had we not done this, we would not have been able to get to this point without such and such. It's all right because I'm going to always give credit when credit is due. I bust my tail for the high and everything, using my connections, using this and everything to make sure that I never forget Mr. Mickens. Mr. Mickens once said, yo, what team has their players in the newspaper in the summertime? I used to make sure a story was being written on our guys in the summertime. And that's what you do. That's what you do for your players. You build relationships with the media. You do that. You build relationships with the college coaches. You understand where you can pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, Jim, you know, I got a kid people are sleeping on. He's only averaging 4 points or so for us. But that's all we need from him because he does all the other things. But he might be able to get you 12 points as a freshman at your university. Come check him out. We used to have 20 to 30 major Division I coaches just coming to watch us have an open gym. It used to be crazy. And then you would have other guys. My main man, Gary Shears, one time called me and said, yo, E. He said, come on, man. He said, I heard you're going to have some college coaches, you know, to watch it. He says, man, I got a couple of kids that play for the Brooklyn Ballers, man, and they're good students, but they ain't getting no attention at their school. I'm like, what position they play? I'm like, come on, Gary, what position? If they play guard, I ain't trying to hear that.
Right.
You know, he said, nah, big man. I said, all right, bring him in. Kid ends up with a scholarship to go to a school, Jersey, at school in Jersey, full Division I scholarship, but it's a high academic school. But the bottom line is he got that because it was like, yo, bring him in, Gary. Let them play. And that's how you're supposed to do it. So a lot of people ended up getting scholarships at other schools off of the strength of us. And a lot of that was predicated on that team, that JV team, Mike Taylor. Like I told Mike, I said, Mike, there's a bigger picture. This is bigger than you. You setting the stage, son. I said, you're gonna get your scholarship. But you, good players, always make sure that everybody else get a chance to eat. And that's when I flip it back to like Pearl. When I told that story with Pearl, refuse. I'm busting these guys up. We at camp at 5-star. You got Reggie, we got legends, Reggie Williams, Kenny Smith, Mark Jackson, Tyrone Bogues is my teammate. Muggsy Bogues. You got all these dudes, and I'm giving them the wiki bobo. And then I don't make the all-star team. I got up when they announced the all-star team. I got up and went back to my cabin, and I literally was like crying because I'm like, I just destroyed and lost to Willie Glass, and lost to Willie Glass in the one-on-one tournament in 5-star. So I was the best one-on-one in terms of just, but bottom line is Pearl was like, wait a minute. I said, you know, I'm in the room. Somebody comes in the cabin. And he goes, hey, man, he says, I want you to play in my place. I'm like, what do you mean? Pearl gave up his all-star jersey. He says, I'm not playing. He says, I said, yo, they're going to be mad at you. He was like, I don't care. They can be mad all they want. And that's how much power Pearl had. He was like,
First of all, I didn't get a chance to ask that question.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that was one of the questions I was going to ask is, besides the obvious, what made Pearl so special? And you just hit it right in the head.
Yeah, man.
You just hit it right in the head. How did you do that game?
Oh, I did very well. I mean, I did great we ended up going to the championship at Five Star. I'm talking Dwayne Farrell. I'm talking Tommy Amick. I'm talking all these great players, busting them down. Me and Muggsy giving cats the business, man. And that All-Star game, I had maybe like 12 points. I played well. And then ended up with extra scholarships. But that's why I respect Pearl so much, because he's always been a selfless guy. He was always very selfless and everything. He can get his whenever he wanted. But when he saw that the way, he was like, hold on. And that's why I became the way I am with players, letting them see they can get the truth from me. I can tell them how this thing works. And then I can talk to these organizations and go, wait a minute, if you're not going to honestly give my kid an opportunity, or if you already have this predetermined, then there's no need for me to bring them or us to be a part of this. We need to be where it's fair, give the kids a fair shot. And then I'll say I've been down that circle and everything. And I learned that from the pro level to there. So it was easy for me now to tell a kid and look a parent in the eye. I've had parents tell me, hey, man, I want to thank you. And I'm saying to me, I'm not saying they didn't say, I don't know what they said to Ruth and everything, but I know to me, they was like, man, you saved my marriage. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, man, you worked and my son got a scholarship. Me and my wife was butting heads wondering, how are we going to pay for this boy to go to school? You know what I mean? He says, so I look back and I think about all those scholarships, man. It costs, you look at about $70,000 to $100 and some thousand.
Way more than that, Elmer.
No, I'm just using them. And what I'm saying, you add up like 20, 30 kids, do the math on that. 150,000 times 30. And that is the type of stuff that we took that type of stress off of a family, because a kid did what they had to do, and they accentuated all of this through their talents, and they got scholarships, and relationships were saved, man. Relationships were saved unbeknownst to that kid and to us, until those parents, or one of them, come and say, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. So
somebody else wanted to say something to you. I mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
running on time right now. Rayford Alston said, what's up, Elmer? I never got a chance to see you play. He said, but I heard so much about you, brother.
Well, you tell Skip to my Lou. You tell Rayford, I appreciate that, and his game has always been appreciated by me, and he epitomizes someone who took advantage of an opportunity and was hell-bent on making sure that everyone identified and understood that he can play the game both ways. He can play it to entertain, he can play it to entertain and be competitive, and more importantly, play competitive, and make a damn good living doing it and everything. So tell Rafe, I definitely admired him, from afar, and we never bumped heads in terms of on the court, but it is what it is, man. I look at the talent that's in New York City. I remember just when you mentioned Pro-Am, it's like the team. Here it is. I'm just throwing myself, Anthony Mason, Mark Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, Mario Ellie, Ralph Dalton, Gene Smith, who I used to give the business to. Pearl told me, I'm just saying that, but obviously it just rubbed off where,
That's right.
Gene's a great guy and everything, but the talent level in New York City, and some guys make it, some guys don't, but you may not make it to do what everybody else deems as made, but you make it. because you're having an impact on other lives. And that's the most important thing. And that's one of the reasons why I started with doing my I Got You youth basketball.
Next question. That's right.
Yeah. So that you got a question, or you want me to, just
Nah,
keep
I just want you to keep elaborating.
yeah.
This is good.
Yeah. So I Got You, my whole thing was like, I wanted a league, a solid league, and a place where I grew up at, where kids can come and perform. And then I started getting support, from the Nets, from Models. I give away player of the games. I'm one of the first that really started doing player of the games, giving away stuff, giving away certificates and all of these things, because a lot of cats wasn't doing that. My uniforms, I modeled it after the NBA, but more importantly, I modeled it after playing abroad. When you play away, they put any sponsors, they put the logos on the uniform all over and everything.
That's right.
I remember one time I had the uniform. As a matter of fact, let me just say this real quick. I had the uniform. The uniforms made, and I made sure I put Applebee's on this across the butt, of the shorts and everything.
Right.
Now that's cool to us, cool. Do it this place, do it this across the
But the
butt.
Applebee's,
But Applebee's. So I remember sending it to the bigwig, and everything, and letting him see it. And he was like, Elmer, what the hell is this? He says, "You're shitting on us. You put our name on the butt part." I was like,
right.
I said, "That's the style." I said, the shirts are tucked in, so as the kids are running past, you're gonna always see. And he was like, "Wait a minute." So I literally had to send him examples of like
different uniforms. Yes.
Different uniforms. It was the funniest thing. But the reason I laugh is because now, like, if you look back, and it's easy to see, if you look back at uniforms, summer uniforms, custom, I started doing that and everything, the drip uniforms, all of that. Then next thing you know, it's uptown. Next thing you know, people, because I started posting these things and putting it up because I wanted people to see the kids and the nice stuff. And the kids like the uniforms and everything. But the one thing that I do remember, and it was one of the moments that I enjoyed, and the guy who made the uniforms was a fantastic dude. His company, Idyllic, they were very good. They were very good to us, and the uniforms. That's when Pearl had passed, and I remember calling Pearl's son. See, I didn't have to call the sister and this and that. I'm calling his son, who has his name and everything. I didn't have to call Beaver. I'm calling the son and everything. And I asked him. I said, "Would you mind if I put Pearl's name on the back of my summer league uniforms in his honor?" Because my league was already successful and everything. And he said yes. So I actually put, that was my honor. I put Pearl 31 on the back shoulder of every single uniform. And the kids loved it. And I used to remember saying on the mic, now, if you guys don't know who that is, you need to just Google it, and then you'll see.
Yeah.
And I remember kids coming back the following weekend and going, "Oh my God, my father had me watching it. Pearl was bad." And then they'll go, "Where is he?" And then, I'm like, "Oh, then you didn't read everything." And then some of them didn't know that he had passed away and everything. So but the bottom line is, what I'm saying is, these kids, it's about us informing them in a way that's engaging to them without like pounding them in the head.
For sure. Hey, listen, I want to show you something that my guy put together for you before you left out of here. I think you're going to enjoy it.
I hope I'm not talking too much.
Nah, fam.
Oh, okay.
This is your night. This is for you, man.
Oh, snap. Wow. that almost looked like a
Oh,
goatee.
hold
I'm
on.
like, what?
Right? You got the left hand? You got the left hand? Right hand? And I didn't even know he was doing that.
Wow. Wow. Oh, he got skills. Okay.
Yeah, he was doing that.
Oh, okay, man. I hope I can get
Oh
this.
no, that's yours, man.
Oh
No,
man, that's nice.
I can meet up with you. You know what I'm saying? Any
Yeah.
day and make sure you get that, man.
Oh, that's wow. And he did that while we were talking. That
While
was
we
the
were
dude that was
talking.
behind you.
Yeah, that's what he do.
That's awesome. That's talent right there, man. That's
Yeah, and
talent.
he a ball player too, just like us.
Yeah.
And
He's
this is
Andrew
his give
Jackson,
back.
right? Andrew
Yeah,
Jackson, give
play
it back,
for
buddy.
Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, like I said, man, this game has been real good. You know, to me, I look at, you know, I think about the awards and little stuff that you get, you know, the citations and the proclamations, you know, those things you get, you know, getting stuff from the congressmen, from the Senate,
Yeah.
senators, from, you know, the councilmen. You know, Rob Carnegie has been great. You know, Eric
He'll be on
Adams.
soon too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so it's about building relationships, and a lot of times I don't go in detail with my, you know, my kids at you know, at Tech and everything, because I've always, you know, it's a different element. Like if they want to find out, they'll find out. But see, like at the high, you know, the kids' fathers or whatever,
Can't
because
hide
they're
it.
local, they'll
That's
be like,
right.
wait a minute, yo, you being coached by him? What? Yo, he could do, you know, this and that. But, you know, again, but then you find out a lot of the parents from my kids at Tech who was basketball. Like I have a kid right now, you know, you know, Jackson Katz, man. Let me tell you something. This kid is already, he almost 6'8", 6'9". This kid, he got the whole package, man. Ball handle, shooting, pass. He's a high D1, major D1 player, and everything. And you know, it's unfortunate that this was going to be his junior year, and he was going to be, you know, he didn't get a chance to get seen because of, you know, unfortunate because of the pandemic, which is,
Right.
you know, hit a lot of people. Hey, listen, man, this pandemic has hit a lot of people in many different ways. You know, I look back, man, and I just think, you know, uh, this has been a rough, you know, as great as my season was with my boys, to be in the Elite Eight and us losing the South Shore, and then the next day, school closed down. You know, we didn't get a chance to do anything. Then lives being lost, and then, you know, man, when I'm like looking forward to school, and then my own personal issue comes in, my own health, you know, where I get diagnosed with cancer, man.
Wow.
And, you know, it like, it rocked me. It really rocked me and everything. So, you know, a lot of these things I look back on, and I realize, you know, that things have been good for me and for many, and then you get hit with, you know, a dose of something like, yo, listen, this is what it is. So as all the talking I tell them about, you know, fighting and being tough and being disciplined and focused, you know, now it's like, ag, it's in my corner now. It's like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna, you know, cry about this and mope and whine? You know, so now I need a strong support team, you know, the same way I supported them and supported their families and just the student body alone. So here it is, you know, this cancer stuff. It's the mental part that that I have to deal with. That's real heavy, you know. And my acceptance of this, you know, it's taking some time. It's taken some time because I've always been one who've always taken care of myself. And then, you know, after following the rules and doing everything the right way all the time, this and that, eating right, this and that, I stopped doing that. And then, you know, this thing caught up and it got me. So, you know, just, you know, I got some work to do. I got some work to do, but things like this gives me an outlet, you know, speaking on your wonderful show, it gives me an outlet to just think about some of the wonderful things that I've been a part of and some of the amazing contributions that the kids overall have made in my life, like even with the basketball league in the summertime, springtime, and then coaching, and then, you know, getting a chance to reminisce and talk about some of the things that I've done. You know, I'm gonna beat this. I'm gonna
Oh,
beat
for
this.
sure. And I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you after this and give you a plug to some things. All right, and you can check out on your own. Because my brother, we're gonna support you through this, and we're gonna walk with you. All right, for sure.
And, you know, and again, I didn't mean to even. I'm surprised I even mentioned it, brought it up again. I shared it before, but I just it just makes me reflect and just, you know, realize how important it is to be supported, you know, while enduring this. So, you know, I've changed my whole. I'm up working out. You know, before work starts, I'm up at 6 in the morning working out. I've already shed 29 pounds and everything, and you know, it's still work in progress. Changed my eating habits, and you know, no late night eating, and you know, it almost, you know, I shouldn't have had to get to this point to continue to take care of myself the proper way. But this is certainly something, you know, that is going to make me continue taking care of myself and others around me the proper way from here on out and during this battle, man. So I just want to say thank you. I look at, you know, like I said, the kids going to college, to them having their own family, to players, you know, speaking about me in church, you know, saying thank you to, it's like, you know, it's love, man, in that Brooklyn Tech, nothing but love there. And I know, you know, Boys and Girls High School is always going to have love for me. I don't care what anybody try to say. You can't dismiss the impact that I had on that program.
That's
and
right.
everything. And the kids, let the kids tell it. The kids will tell you, you know, what the deal is. But again, you know, I love everybody over there, you know, always have, and I always will, and I'm always bleed the red and black, which is red, black, and white, which is our colors. And I thank Coach Brown, I thank Mr. Mickens, I thank, you know, even, you know, my other colleagues, everybody, and man, more importantly, man, I just thank these players and all of that stuff, man, because they keep us young. And they keep us on our toes and everything, and it makes you just realize that you know, I have a lot to live for, and I'm gonna continue. And thank you for definitely having me.
Oh man, don't worry about that. Make sure your players come on and they watch this so they can know their coach a little bit better. Because let me tell you something, you got Brian Capers, your former classmate from the highs on here. You got Ross Strickland said what's up. Ray Falls said what's up. Joe Green. Everybody's showing you love, fam.
No, that's what's up. Tell Rod, I still got a cool picture of him and I when we was at the NBA was doing the pre-draft thing, and it was real good. I'm a hold that picture. I might put that picture up. It's just him and I just kicking it, just talking and everything. So yeah, Rod is good people, man. We always had a good relationship, him and Dredd and everything. And let's just go from there, man. Let's just go from there. And I continue success with you know, basketball heads and the things that you do. And I hope I answered some questions. I hope I didn't talk too much, but I guess I was just, you know, giving.
Brother,
I usually envelope a lot, you know, because I was never one to, you know, always hang out with the whole clique. Not that there was anything wrong with that, but I was always, you know, as an only child, you tend to be a loner. you know, if you have your significant other with you and you're good, or your own crew of guys.
Right.
So sometimes you might get lost. Like I noticed one thing you had said, something I read something where you said one of the underrated guards, and I said, yeah, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, that's underrated, you know, by I guess publications, but the
Right, right.
City of New York, they know, and the players.
I know you official. I know. I played. I know. Trust me.
Yeah.
But for those people who don't know,
yeah,
or maybe have heard your name, they don't really understand how much of an impact that you had on New York City basketball. So we
don't
just want to
forget
make sure
prime time, and I just want to give a shout out to my prime time team, man.
Yes.
I love
Our nemesis.
James Ryan was awesome, man. Just Tony Hargraves, Pete Edwards, who runs IS8. It's funny, Pete and I became good friends. My first MVP actually at West 4th Street, it was in the All-Star game, and it was against Pete Edwards and Curtis something was the opposition. And
two of the best summer league backcourts ever.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? It's like, in my mind, I didn't know who they were, because that was just a mindset I had and everything, because again, I wasn't like into everybody right away. I just wanted to just hoop and keep it moving. And I ended up with like 48 and got the MVP in the All-Star game. But anyway, from that point, I remember talking to Pete afterwards, and then next thing you know, we're playing together. And that dude is an outstanding human being, man. And
you need him on the show too. You need to reach out to him. I was supposed to get him last season.
Yeah, and God bless, Curtis. Something, but again, thank you for having me. More importantly, again, how ironic that the date that you chose to ask me on is the date and birthday of my beloved backcourt partner that put us on the map. And I do believe this, and I'm not self-serving, but someone once said to me, and I respect him, and I'm not going to say his name, but I will say this. He said, absolutely, we were the best backcourt in the history of New York City basketball. That's out of his mouth. We averaged 66 points a game between us. And that's not to say other people wasn't better, but it was just talking about the best backcourt. So Pearl and I, we did our thing along with our other teammates, and I have great memories. And thank you for having me. And again, on that note, everybody be well, be safe, wear your mask, and
all right, before you go, think about this. Everyone who comes on the show has to nominate someone.
Okay.
Bud nominated you.
Respect. And I actually hit Bud up and told him, I said, yo, thank you.
And if you don't know now, I'm gonna call you after this anyway.
I was getting ready to say Vernon Moore, Pete Edwards, but you said you already tried.
I need both of them. We were supposed to do Pete Edwards last season.
I tell you what, they'll do it because they hear me nominated. I'm nominating 3 guys right now. Pete Edwards, Vernon Moore, and Dwayne Johnson, DJ. DJ, one of the best small forwards I've ever played with. And Tony Hargraves. Man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tony, my guy.
Definitely those cats right there, man. It's and I know I might be forgetting somebody. And
whoever, Elmer, whoever you say, you hit me up your pool, get them on your show. It's to go.
That's what it's about. It's about blessing other people's success and putting them on your platform, and I tell you, each of them will be have a good story and good information for you. I mean, with DJ, being All-American, then you got Pete, his grind from being a top player at Division II, then going on, run IS8, going on be commissioner, Department of Housing to retire, all that. Vernon, Creighton, playing for Willis Reed. Man, I can go on. Hargraves at Iona. It can get real filthy with all the names that I can actually throw out. And
Hey,
then
listen, brother, I'm ready for it because we are the official home for New York City basketball. So you bring it on, fam.
all right. Blessings.
Yeah, and look, Elmer, I'm gonna call you right after this too. All right?
Let's my voice is gone.
I'll hit you up tomorrow. I'll hit you tomorrow.
Yeah,
But I definitely want. I'm gonna text you the information, and then we'll talk more tomorrow. Okay?
You got it. And I hope
Appreciate
this was
you.
live, right? I hope everybody enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
Didn't find me boring. Now let me go do some push-ups and sit-ups. I'm up to 7 push-ups. Just joking. All right.
All right, Elmer. Peace,
All
brother.
right.
All right.
Later.
All right. Elmer Anderson. What a great story. We got to keep supporting our brothers and our sisters and be there for them, because that's what we represent. Basketball Heads Live, the official home for New York City basketball. Peace.